Welcome to toy-polloi.
Hello and welcome to another video from toy-polloi, and today I'm going to be reviewing the Action Man training tower released in 1976 by Palitoy. And as you can see in front of me, I have my boxed version of the training tower. Now the box is pretty tatty and I've had to move away from my main desk for filming because it is such a large box, and you'll see why when I actually put the training tower together, because it is a very large playset at nearly 1 metre tall. Now this was released in 1976 by Palitoy, and as you can see here it comes in a pretty nice box. The artwork on the box is fantastic and really does show you a good example of what the training tower really does look like. It's actually quite a good interpretation of it with a little bit of action going on. And if you look in the corner here, you can see there are 5 stars available to cut out and send away for other toys, and it wasn't that many sets that actually came with a full set of 5 stars. And if you're collecting this set, more often than not when you find the box, these stars have been removed. So make sure they are there on your box if you want it to be nice and complete like this one is. Now the box contains quite a lot of things. It contains the training tower, which is built up of a whole load of pieces that you have to slot together. It has an escape slide with over 300 centimetres of rope. That doesn't actually sound very long, but it did the job at the time. A rope ladder, climbing net, barbed wire, mess kit, water bottle, camp stove, knife, fork and spoon, and the leaflet on how you get the set constructed. So let's open the box and I'll show you what's inside. So this is it, a whole lot of stuff. You can see it does come in an awful lot of pieces, and it is a little bit tricky to put together. I remember as a child getting a little bit frustrated putting this together, but really you just put it together and then leave it up. But since I've been filming this video, I've taken the tower up and down a few times, and every time I do it I think I'm going to break something, but so far I've been lucky. So it comes with an instruction manual, and this shows you how to set it all up, as you can see here. And really, once the tower's built and the string is attached to 2 chairs, I do quite like the fact that it's attached to 2 chairs, you're ready to go. Now I picked this up at a toy fair fairly recently. It cost me all of £25 for the whole thing. It was missing a couple of tiny pieces, but I've actually managed to find most of those since I've got it. The only thing I'm still missing is unfortunately the barbed wire, which is a bit of a shame, but I do hope to find it at some point. And when I picked it up, it came with this rope net thing, which is not how I remembered it, but apparently the guy sold it to me and said that this was original, so this may have been a later issue version of the cargo net, but I did hunt down and find an original version, or at least the version I remember having, which is this one made out of the string, because this is what I had as a child, so I thought I'd try and get the original one. So let's put this together. It takes me about 10 to 15 minutes to put this together, just because I'm worried about breaking the plastic, so I'll show a little bit of that and you can see it all up and running when it's all put together. So here we are 10 minutes later and it's all set up, and it is just as big as I'd remembered it. It's a very tall item and it is just a little bit precarious when you're putting it together because the orange plastic feels pretty brittle and the grey plastic that makes up the top section is designed in such a way that every part of it has to sort of clip together, but it's so thin and weedy and obviously old that you just feel like you're going to snap off all of the clips as you do it. But as you can see, I put it together and nothing is broken, so that's a good start really when you're building something like this. The top section here comes with a few great little features. You have the little winch here with a hook on it which you can raise and lower stuff down. It has a ladder for Action Man to climb up to get to the top of the training tower, and of course it has the zip wire and escape chute, which I will show you a bit outside because obviously I can't fit that all together in my tiny little room here, but it looks pretty good and there's a nice lot of detail in the construction of this toy considering it's so old. The way the orange parts are constructed and the sort of detailing in the girders and stuff and the little rivets on it, it does look really cool. It's a very nice toy, and as a child I used to remember absolutely loving playing with this because of all the little features you could do and the fact that you could send Action Man down a zip wire, which is a really great thing to do when you're a child. And here is the zip wire part of this set. As you can see, you have a little set of pulleys that run down the wire and a sort of set of handles with some little seaty bits here so that you can seat your Action Man on and he sits and will slide down the wire. Now the cable that it comes with is here and they only give you 3 meters of this, and I thought that's at the time it seemed like a lot of rope for the Action Man to slide down, but as I'm going to set this up outside I've found some other stuff and I actually have about 10 meters of it, so I'm going to set up this tower out in my garden with 10 meters worth of rope, and we'll see if we can get him to slide all the way down that 10 meters and see how well it runs. So let's take this out into the garden. I'm going to set it up. It's a lovely sunny day and we'll see what we can do with it. So there we go. As you can see, I managed to get it to work pretty well out in the garden. The 10 meters worth of string and cable allowed me to get the zip wire to go a pretty long way. It did seem to struggle a bit. The little gears and pulleys on the plastic don't really run that well. I tried putting a bit of lubrication on it and that didn't seem to make a great deal of difference, but I could still manage to get the zip wire running for a full 10 meters, and my garden's on quite a slope, so there was quite a nice sort of long run down to get it to work. And even after all these years, I have to say it was still really good fun doing it. I spent 2 hours out there playing with this toy and I had an absolutely wonderful time. It really brought back a lot of memories, and I remembered how good it was to play with. Although it does seem a little bit brittle now looking back after all these years, it obviously is pretty sturdily made because it did get a lot of punishment when I was a child and it still survived. So it's one of those toys that may look brittle, but it actually isn't as brittle as it feels like it should be. Now this isn't a particularly hard playset to find. As I said earlier, this cost me £25 at a recent toy fair, and I think the reason that it isn't that hard to find and you can find it quite cheaply is because it's so large, and so it's not the sort of thing you can get on eBay because it just will cost a lot of money to ship or post around the world. But at toy fairs the sellers just want to get rid of them because they take up a lot of space. So if you see one at a toy fair, I would grab it because it is a great fun thing to have, and the box art does look amazing. But you do have to remember that you have to store this and it does take up a lot of space. I'm actually going to pack this up and put it back in the box once I'm done, and it's going to go and live in my loft for a little while because I just don't have the space to display it, although I really would love to because it does look great, and it really is something that's going to come out of storage as soon as I have space to display it again, because it's just lovely, and you can actually hang a lot of figures off it, and it does look pretty amazing when it's out on display. And there we have it. That is my review of the Action Man Training Tower and Escape Wire. It really is a fantastic playset, and I've had a thoroughly enjoyable time playing with this again, and I would recommend, if you do see one, go out and buy it, because it really is worth adding to your collection. And thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching Toy-polloi. Subscribe for more great videos.